Lovers Quarrel. It's a long, sustained quarrel.
What's going on, world?
Hey, everybody.
It's your guy, TJ, Mr. New Cool.
And it's your girl, Dani, your forever drained dragon. That's how tired I am. So,
Okay.
how do you think?
Huh?
What do you think? That's
your one for the week.
Yeah. I was a
Are
salamander
dragons
last
real?
week. Yes. The Komodo dragon. You're not like the dragon, like How to Train Your Dragon, or like,
But it's like-
Puff the Magic Dragon, but their dragons are real.
Got you.
That's all you got?
I mean, I'm gonna have to research it. I don't really
You don't
know.
believe me? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, I understand that there's like Komodo dragons and stuff like that, but
You mean like you think it's like Game of Thrones dragon out there?
I'm just asking, like, is there like, how is it real but it's fake?
I mean, that's what people do. People take things that are sort of real, and then they like make things that are like they extrapolate against that.
Whoa.
That's a big word.
Yeah.
So,
Extrapolate?
extrapolate, meaning like they expound on it. They make it
Use
bigger.
it in a sentence.
I just did. What do you mean?
Nah, I need a different sentence. I need a different
This
example.
isn't a spelling bee. We're moving on.
That's
Let's
crazy to
Let's
me.
just say I'm always tired. I'm trying to mix it up. I'm not
That's
always
cool.
a pigeon. I've been a pterodactyl. I've been a salamander. I'm trying to
Try to
give our
keep it
listeners
going.
some flavor.
Got you.
Okay,
Dragons.
where you are always Mr. New Cool.
I mean, listen, I keep it simple, right? That's what you say about me. I do everything simple and easy, and
I don't say those things about you.
you said
Simple and easy.
when I do my relationship tip, you say it's gonna be simple.
Your relationships are basic as fuck. But
That's crazy to
fine.
me.
But anyway,
You're not gonna disrespect me on my own show.
welcome to another episode of Lovers Quarrel.
Yes,
So we have a lovely guest in front of us
We
today,
do.
which we will of course formally introduce to you guys a little later in the episode. But as always, we're going to start with some elevator talk. Would you like to go first?
nah, you
sir?
can go ahead.
Okay, I will. Going down. So, it's real simple, but my elevator talk is just about the Super Bowl. I'm not all that cracked up about it, because I'm with Kat on top of that. But even still, if I wasn't, it's the Patriots again. I just feel like it's just not anything to write home about. It's gonna be, and it's in Atlanta. Niggas is out there charging $200 for parking. It's just,
Sounds like a come up to me.
it just sounds like a racket to me. So it's just from all angles, the Super Bowl just seems like underwhelming this year. And
Well, I think this is the first time the Rams, right? Because it's the LA Rams. They weren't always the LA Rams, so
no, they just changed. They switched. Weren't they in St.
Louis? Yeah. I mean, I'm not watching NFL, but shout out to Tom Brady
Why?
because he's the GOAT.
Are you gonna, Kasha? You gonna watch the NFL, the Super Bowl?
Mm-mm.
See, it's just dumb.
Listen, I didn't say that you have to watch it.
I just want to watch it for the commercials, but even then,
the competitive
That's why I
side for
recorded.
me,
yeah.
like
The
it's
what?
the competitive side. It's a sport. Tom Brady's old as fuck, and if he gets 6, that's major.
He's a Trump supporter, so he's done for me.
I kind of feel a way about the halftime show because in Atlanta, I feel like it should be black people, but nobody want to mess with the NFL. So,
Well, they got Travis Scott and Big Boy,
I mean, okay.
but the way I feel about it,
Yeah,
I'm gonna stay down with you. Maroon 5 and Adam Levine.
I love them.
Adam Levine.
I just felt like
that's my white.
Why
side.
didn't he?
For Atlanta, though, is what I'm saying. Like,
But see, my issue with Adam Levine, Maroon 5, is that Adam Levine decided that he needed to say something about the Super Bowl.
What did he say?
He said something along the lines like he thought about it long and hard and, spoke to a lot of people, and he decided that performing was the best thing. But he could have not said anything. Like, you kind of, to me, you showed your true colors.
But I feel like sometimes people feel like they have to say something.
He didn't have, but nobody was like asking him to say anything. Nobody was like, Adam Levine, what do you think? And
I think everybody was looking at whoever was going to be at the halftime performance and being like, if there was anybody who came across as like moderately like liberal or anything like that, like you don't think Maroon 5 or Adam Levine, you think that staunch Republican. So I'm saying like they probably feel like people want to know why.
I just feel like a lot of people bowed out, so they could have bowed out. Adam Levine, your Hollywood crush, boyfriend, whatever.
I said that's my white bae.
Well, he's racist too.
I wouldn't say that he's racist.
Okay.
I'm not saying that was
He had an
decision.
opportunity to stand with Kat, and he chose to perform. So
that makes him racist.
I'm wondering if it wasn't them, then who?
Yeah. I mean,
it's gonna be some like country singer.
It's always
going to
be
like
that.
Like,
it's redneck.
But it's just like
they could have all just said, "Nah, we good." The same way how
Travis Scott could have.
The same way. Well, yeah.
Even though he said he spoke with Cap, that was a whole.
And that was a lie. See, he shouldn't have said that. If honestly, if he would have just
that's
said
that Kardashian shit.
If he would have just said, "Listen, I got them to give $500,000," I think that would have just been cool. Once he threw in Cap, and Cap was like, "Fuck out of here," and his girlfriend was like, "Nah, he the ops." Like, you should have just shut up. Nobody gave Big Boy grief, and I guess it's because he's from Atlanta, but it's still like they don't care about us. Like, the NFL is showing y'all what it is, and we're just accepting of it. People still watching, people still supporting.
Isn't it funny how Papa John's was like the official pizza of the NFL, and they also equally had a racist scandal with their CEO? Like, if you just look at it all around, it just seems like a problem, a round table of racist. So it would have been a bigger stance if no one.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been.
That's what's going on right now with the. Is it the Oscars? Is that what Kevin Hart was supposed to
host?
Yeah. Nobody's doing the Oscars right now. They're scrambling trying to find people to do the Oscars. Like, to me, that makes a bigger stand. Like, if no artist would have done it, or no popular artist would have done it, then it would have been like, oh shit, we got to make a change.
But my question is, are you saying like nobody's doing the Oscars because they want Kevin Hart to host it?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying they see. For me, I think they know that they may have skeletons, and because of that, they're not even going for it. So it's gonna force the Oscars to have to say, whoever we pick next time, we're gonna stick with them regardless of who their past is, or or do their due diligence. All I'm saying is that if the same way how if Travis Scott didn't say anything, it would be the same way if what's the name? If Adam Levine didn't say anything.
I kind of get what you're saying, but okay. So, Kasha, do you have any other music? So TJ and I kind of brought it a little down, talking about all the Super Bowl talk. But is there anything on your mind that you want to share? Is anything good going on? Anything that is just pissing you off that you want to talk about?
No, I'm actually like in one of my highest of highs. I mean, I'm celebrating my 1-year anniversary of my weight loss journey, so nothing can bring me down at this given moment. Thank you. So, and then I'm also celebrating my reincarnation of my inner hoe.
Oh,
yeah. I'm really I'm like liberated 2.0.
Okay.
So
I'm here for it.
Yeah. So right now it's just like, nah, I can't, like, if something was negative, it's just like, fuck it, because it doesn't matter.
True, I know those feelings.
Yeah.
Has the weight loss, did the losing the weight make you say, like...
No, because I never had a problem. But, like, the weight wasn't the issue for me, like, with dating and stuff like that, because I still was getting niggas. But, but what it was is the commitment to self. So even if I didn't lose as much weight, or the number of pounds didn't matter, it was the commitment to myself saying, this is what you're doing, and then having seen it through and been successful in it. And it just like, it does something to your energy. It does something to you when you were empowered by you and nothing else. So that's really more so what it was. I think I was so focused on the idea of needing to look for a relationship, that, you know, my kid is getting older, I want another one, but if it ain't by a certain age, he's just gonna have to be on his own. But yeah, it's just like that kind of stuff was what was my driving thoughts. And now I'm like, it's gonna come if it comes. Like, my it's a shift in mentality about the subject, and it's just like, I'm gonna get what God wants for me to have, like more of it. But until then, dun, dun.
Yeah, that's such a nice, like, I love how you brought that together, and we were being petty patties talking about the fucking Super Bowl, but I love that, and I understand that too, about like wanting to have like these things in mind, or doing things for yourself in order before you do the next thing or the next
right. And we women, you know how we are. We we map out the next 5 years. Like in our head, it's like, this is what's happening, and this is when it's happening, and how it's going to happen. Yeah. But it's also that it's a part acceptance and a part relinquishing control, and recognizing that I've made many plans in life that I thought was what I needed to be doing, and then my path would keep shifting me, going, no, you need to go here. No, you need to go here. And when I finally went with it, then everything started to go up. Business went up, home life went up, family stuff went up, everything. So I was just like, you know what? Stop fighting what seems to be intended for you, and just go with it. And then, I go forward with my brain in mind, like keep my own better judgment and sense, but I'm trusting my gut and my path.
I love it, because sometimes we resist, like, all the signs.
Like how we fight our orgasms. Yeah. Learn to let go.
Laughing hard over there.
Moving on. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually, and this a little bit touches on slightly what you just said, our relationship tip of the week. So Kasha, you're going to need to, decide. This is the important job right here, because as always, this was my little segment for me. And then somebody decided that they had to be join in. Yeah.
It wouldn't be a quarrel if I didn't have a say.
Anyway.
That's crazy to me.
So my relationship tip of the week, folks.
Let's hear it.
In a relationship, it's
first, before you go into it, is it inspired by me?
Actually, no, it's inspired by me.
Okay.
So there, huh?
Okay.
Anyway, so my relationship tip of the week is learn to start in your partner or whoever you're with. Because we talk about all types of ships, not just romantic, but even in your friendships or family kinships. You gotta start to love the flaws of people, right? Because you can't like or love what you can like and love what you like and love about a person, but can you really, really say that you're with somebody or that you're for somebody if you can't love the flaws in them too? Because there's things that there are flaws in us that we're able to change, that over time we will grow out of or we will realize some shit about ourselves and people will change. But this is some shit about people that is going to just be a flaw of theirs. It's just going to be something that they're not good at, or they can't necessarily change about themselves. It could be physical, it could be mental, it could be emotional. But if you're committed to them and you're committed to it, you gotta learn to love the flaws. But also at the same time, if you are cool with the flaws, you got to acknowledge the insecurities that person may have about those flaws. So, and what I mean by that is, if I have an insecurity about something, even though it may not bother you, it may not even register on your radar. It's mine, and I need you to acknowledge it and not brush it off when I bring it up or when I talk about it. So I'm I need that's what it comes. That's where it comes in. So it's kind of twofold. So on one hand, if somebody has some shit that you don't like, you got to learn to love them through it. But even if somebody has something about themselves that is a non-factor for you, it's not even in the equation for you. Just because it doesn't factor in for you doesn't mean it doesn't factor in for them, and you need to acknowledge the insecurity and respect it, because brushing them off, talking about it's not a big deal, saying whatever, just kind of makes things worse. So that is my very thoughtful, well thought out, well spoken relationship tip of the week that was inspired by my own shit. So you can't take credit for it.
All I did was ask a question.
Back to you, TJ.
Mine is simple.
Which, as always.
Listen.
Okay, we're listening.
So I'm gonna say, don't negate people's feelings.
That's a nice word, negate.
I feel like there's a lot of shade right there. There's a lot of shade right there.
There's no shade.
Again, you don't negate people's feelings. If I'm upset,
yeah,
respect me being upset. Don't brush it off.
Okay.
So when I was upset earlier,
yeah,
don't brush it off. Accept it.
I did.
Nah, you did.
Okay.
You did. So that's it. In friendships, relationships, just because, you might be tougher or you may not care, when people are telling you that they're upset or they feel some type of way, you got to listen to what they say. Something simple. Straight to the point. I don't got to, draw it all out and get you maps and, go from A to Z. Just drive it home.
Okay. Well, with that being said, Kasha.
You want to know what I love about this conversation?
What?
That even when you quarrel, you agreeing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really just happened, basically. Because what you're just basically saying something simple of what she said about not, the common thing is don't be dismissive, regardless of it, right? So don't dismiss my insecurities, don't dismiss my feelings. So for me, I 100% agree with the statement. Like, my biggest policy is loving in anger. You gotta love harder in anger, because when they piss you off, it's like... Yeah. Exactly.
Together. So that was in sync. That was like unison.
No, seriously, but and it's funny because as you were saying, I thought about two different scenarios: a kinship scenario, and then I thought about the relationship scenario. Like, it's kind of like my mom, for example. Like, she has some stuff about her that, like, she could take you there. But me and my sister was just saying, like, if she wasn't like that, she would not be who she is. And it's like, it was almost a little bit of a morbid conversation, but we was just thinking, like, if, today or tomorrow my mother was gone, what would we be thinking? What would we be remembering? And we was like, yeah, she gave us so much shit to, like, laugh at, even after she's gone. So it's like finding a way to appreciate the same thing that you see as a flaw, because you understand it also defines them. And if that one thing was different, they probably still would, it would probably end up impacting something you love about them, because, you know what I'm saying? So, and then it's funny you say that, because I always say that when I'm meeting a guy. I'm like, listen, I need you to understand something. I'm very big on not being dismissive. Just because it doesn't matter to you and it matters to me doesn't mean that you have the right to be like, it's not that big of a deal, or it ain't that serious. Those statements are some of the most dismissive statements you can use in a conversation, right? Because you're immediately downplaying how I feel because it's not matching how you feel about it. That's number one. Then it's also like, the flip side of it is, like, say like you come to her with something and it's like, I really don't like when you do this. To me, like, my evaluation process is like, is it that big of a deal if I stop it? Like, is it going to kill me? Is it going to make me feel like you asking me to be something that I'm not if I change it? Because if not, then cool. It's not that big. Now it's not that big of a deal. I could make the change. Yeah, but it's the evaluation process. Now, if I discover you asking me about something that I feel like, you know what, it's something I feel like is a part of me, I really, then we got to find a way to level or meet somewhere in the middle. But because I don't want to ever feel like I'm completely modifying me. But if it's a change that's not going to change who I am, then I'll make that change for the person that I'm with. Like, you know what, I'll work on that. I'll stop doing that. I'll try to really start doing that. But when I went through the weight loss transition and I was dating through it, that was the most interesting experience where I saw what you were talking about with insecurities. So obviously, when I was 100 pounds lighter, the guys who were attracted to me were attracted to women of that size, right? So the question for them was like, oh, when I start going this way, you still gonna look at me like this? Yeah. Right? And then, you know what I'm saying? Then it's the guys now. It's like, but if I was that way, would you still look at me like this? So you would hear guys say, and I don't think y'all think about the shit that y'all say sometimes, because they'll be like, don't get too skinny. Don't do... And I'm like... Yep. I got my own goals, and I'm going to go to where I feel comfortable. Yeah. If that makes you uncomfortable, then that sounds like something you need to deal with, because I'm not, But it was almost like they don't realize that in some women... that could create an insecurity. Now I'm concerned about losing too much weight. Is a dude that I really like going to still look at me the same way? Yep. Like, am I going to have to start eating cornstarch when I get to a certain point for breakfast, lunch, and dinner to stay over a certain weight limit? And that's why I was like, do you realize that what you're saying, I know you don't mean it this way, but this is really what you're saying. Like, I'm not insecure. Like, don't try to create that. So, and they would be like, nah, it's not that serious.
Always. See, you see where the deep side comes from? Like, it's just, because you're just like...
Because it's to the point where it's like, you feel like sometimes nothing that you're saying is processing. And it's like, does not compute. And I'm like you just, only thing you can do is take a deep breath and be like, never mind. But what you end up doing is internalizing something that you do feel strongly about, but you just walk away from it because you're frustrated with the conversation. And it comes up again later along the line some other way and becomes another fight. So it's like, how, I guess, with you guys, right, since y'all quarrel a lot, my question would be like, when you find yourself at those like headbutts that's getting nowhere, how do you remedy it in the long term so that it doesn't become something that is a bigger deal later? Like, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Remember what I was saying? You know what I mean? Like, that argument.
I don't know if we do all the time. Like, I think that there's sometimes that we have. And I think that it's like, sometimes I feel like we have to like not be in the same room. Like, so TJ and I have said on like previous episodes, when we get to those real big points, we will
text it out.
We text it out because the tone. And I know sometimes in text tones can be misconstrued, but for us, it sometimes it takes the emotion out of it if we're texting back and forth. And you have to be more thoughtful with your words when you're typing, because you kind of read what you're saying, and
then you decide whether you're gonna press send.
Exactly. So you can't, because like when you start saying it, you can't,
because you can't blame this on I ain't mean to say that. Because like, nah, bro, you wrote it, you read it, and then you still hit go. Yeah, so that's what you meant.
so that is sometimes where I think that helps with us. But then I feel like there's other times when we have. I mean, me and TJ, you know, we're going on being together 15 years, and we have times where we don't always, we kind of, there are those certain like trigger things inside of every relationship where we kind of just come back around and like they are sometimes some of the most like trivial shit you've ever heard, but it's just, it goes back to what you were saying about like the feeling like your feelings are dismissed, or feeling like there are a lot of asks of one person and not of the other. And so, like, and on both sides. And so I think that is something. So, like, always a work in progress. What we always say, too, is, like, one of the best things about doing the podcast together is that it creates a space and opportunity for us to kind of hear each other out, because you have to, like, we literally can't talk over each other. Like, there would be no quality product if we didn't sit and listen sometimes to what the other person was saying. And then, too, when we have guests on, I think that it's a fresh or a welcome perspective, because it's always easier sometimes to hear it from somebody else. It was like, oh, but when this person says it, now you get it.
But you know, it's something that I do.
That's life, though.
Like
it is,
and it's like it's something that when I like coach people, that's something that I always have to bring it to them, because it always happens, and it's usually the woman or the guy both like, why do you get it when she said it? And it's just like, I'm very big on approach, and being an autism mom is what gave me that perspective, because that's the challenge that makes me have to think, how does he view it? And I don't have a choice but to make that adjustment, because otherwise parenting would be a huge fail. So because I'm constantly used to doing that on a daily perspective, now I'm able to do that with other people, and I have this process where I'm thinking, no, but what is he really saying, or what is she? But when you in it, you hear your perspective.
Exactly. It's a quarrel. It's a battle. It's like, I will not lose. Like, I'm not, you know, it becomes a thing about, sometimes it becomes about winning. As opposed to like, sir.
But then it's like winning. Yeah, it can. But it's like winning the fight and not the battle. Like the war, like, you know. Like
win the battle, not the war
kind of situation.
I'm just, you know, Dani don't, you know, she don't like to fight, so.
I don't like to fight.
But now I know that it's about winning.
It's not always about winning.
Okay.
But no, I don't like to argue. I'm not a very confrontational. I'm not a very confrontational person. But
you can articulate yourself.
But you know what it is though? So I like all the words. You know, I'm a person. I love to talk, but
she do like to talk. Love to talk.
This nigga right here. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? So. I love that.
So he don't really know when, like, certain things.
He just don't ever shut up.
His head
yeah, exactly. He's no filter. So
I'm agreeing. I'm giving you that
shade.
love.
I feel like the lights dimmed in the room.
Thank you.
Spoke
just a second ago. Kasha, you like my spirit animal.
I'm over here in the sidelines, like, go Daddy. You know what I mean? I'm on your side.
I was talking.
You see?
So, but when it comes to arguing with, and in all fairness, with anybody, like, I don't really like to go back and forth with anybody like that, because
except for me.
Let me get to that point.
Go ahead.
I start to, my thoughts get muddled, my words get jumbled, and then on top of being frustrated or whatever the issue is, I have the extra layer of frustration, because now I can't even communicate what's wrong with me or why I'm upset the way I would if I was just calmly talking about whatever. And that it just, so all the feelings.
So it's like basically taking a bottle of Coke, shaking it up, and it's like, okay, it exploded and went over. But then the next time somebody just dropped a pack of Mentos in it, and because it's basically adding salt to a wound that's already there. And no, I know what you mean.
But with TJ, because we're married.
Go ahead.
Because we're married, because we're not going anywhere. There have been times where I've been time enough for him, because, and I will say this, he's helped me in the sense of, like, building my stamina with having confrontation.
First compliment I got all day.
Shut up.
I appreciate it.
I can't stand you.
Go ahead, continue.
So, but
see, it's because y'all on the couch.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
It's almost like a therapy session.
It feels like that right now, yeah.
And that's what it comes down to, I think. It's just like, and he's not going anywhere, I'm not going anywhere in the same house or the same room. You can't avoid, like, anybody else in this world at this point. If I really didn't want to go back and forth with them, I could
walk away from it
and be fine. This person is the person I lay next to. There's no walking away from that. So that's why sometimes, not all the time, we have to just go at it. And I that was, again, a previous tip. It's like, sometimes you gotta fight that shit out.
Yeah.
No. And the reality is, like, when I go back to the love and anger statement, it's you can fight it out as long as you don't say anything in anger that you know once you calm the hell down, you're gonna be like, why the fuck did I say that? Mm-hmm. Because some things can't be unheard. I don't care how many times you say sorry. I don't care how many times you explain it. I just know that in an instant, I can go back right to that minute when you said those words and I felt what I felt, and you know what I'm saying? And then
I know very well.
Yeah, so it's just like,
I tell you,
I'm super cautious, but it's maybe because, like, somebody told me, like, I was with, he was like, you be approaching our conversations like, he'd be like, you partly be giving me your mom tone, and then the other side be Jedi mind trick or whatever. And he was like, I feel like you be analyzing the shit that I'm saying so that you can come with the perfect line that's just gonna be lethal. And then I'm on, it's like a bomb. He feel like, you know, you planted it, and then like hours later,
I'm just gonna say whatever comes to my mind. And it may be
good,
crazy,
or
it may be regular, but I feel like if you know me, then you know that it's not purposeful, if that makes sense.
But do you go back later and be like, you know what?
Sure, yeah.
That's all that matters.
I mean, but I can say, me and Danny could be beefing, and then I could be like, you know what, I apologize. And then Danny, I'm just copping out. And for me, it's like, you know what, we're going back and forth, we're not going nowhere.
That's not okay with her.
I get that.
But you know why it's not okay with her?
Go ahead.
I'll tell you very simply why it's not okay with her. Because you're thinking just saying I apologize is going to end it, but there's probably still something she feels unheard.
No, well, it might be. I don't know. What I'm saying that...
Because sometimes it's like the apology is like you're trying to shut me down. Yes. And it's like, nah, I didn't finish what I was at.
You are her doppelganger.
No. Listen, now listen, the statement goes that if she's saying it, you could dismiss it. But if more than one person says the same thing, you got to admit there might be some truth to it.
No.
I'm just telling you, women, that's how we process it. Like, okay, you're sorry, but I still didn't finish saying what I wanted to say.
But I do respect
you're trying to end the conversation.
But for me, I'm just saying, you know what? I fucked up. I'm truly taking this.
Like an army soul.
And for someone who don't always concede, I feel like sometimes you got to be like, yo, he's truly conceding. Like,
maybe you should say, just tip. Right? You can say, listen, I want to just apologize right now because now I'm hearing where I might have went wrong. I still want to hear you.
I'm gonna try that.
That sentence is important.
Try that.
I still want to hear you, but just know I'm owning where we at right now.
I'm gonna try that, and I'm gonna let you know.
Please let me know. All right, because I want to hear. Yeah.
This has been the most eye-opening, revealing the relationship tip segment we've had in a while.
I mean, that's what I do.
That's what you do. You?
Yeah.
Oh, why?
So we're not here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, I spearheaded this.
Okay, so now that we're gonna take.
Listen, had I not joined into the little tip thing that you started, that you
the
did
little
so
tip
well.
thing. Oh, you so disrespectful.
That you did so well.
He's low key shady. The little tip thing, like
that she did so
I'm
well.
Somebody seeing what I've been seeing.
You see how I did that though?
But it's like a 50-50. It's like I'm gonna throw shade and then I'm gonna just bring a little light right after.
He's the king of backhanded compliments.
That's crazy to me.
You're the king of backhanded compliments.
No, but it's you. But
it's who you are. But you are a shady lady. I'm telling you.
Whatever.
Oh wait, we forgot. It's before we go to break. It's your
yeah. So
we gotta go to your word
thank
of the
you for
week.
listening to the relationship tip of the week. I win again.
You win again.
So now we have my word of the week.
What's the word of the week?
Approbation.
Are you telling me or are you asking?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Approbation is a formal word for approval or praise. Approbation is like getting the nod in a big way. Politicians rely on the public's approbation to get elected.
Okay. He's gonna use that in an argument later.
I'm gonna find a way to do it.
He's gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna give an I apologize I give my approval. He's gonna find a way to incorporate it in that statement.
I was gonna say he's gonna be like, I'm not seeking approbation from you.
I can see that too.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'll write it down. So that
I don't
way.
need approbation.
Exactly. I don't need anybody's approbation.
There you go.
I know how. Yeah.
You know. So with that,
you gotta tell me what he uses.
I will.
We're gonna go to our
break.
Our break.
And then we'll be back.
A message from our
even
sponsor.
though we've been here. Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say we'll be here from Kasha, but we would formally introduce our lovely guest when we come back.
Hey friend, it's time for you to ditch those workout gloves and get the grip and wrist support you deserve. What do you suggest? You need to get the Gainz Load and Lock grips by Gainz Sports Gear. They are more durable than gloves, have a non-slip grip pad that provides grip support and added wrist support unlike your traditional workout gloves, and will protect your hands from calluses. Do they come in different colors? Not only do they come in different colors, but they are available for men and women. Do yourself a favor, go to GainSportsGear.com. And remember, a better grip equals a better lift. Embrace the process.
You too can embrace the process by using our code LOVERS10 at Gainz, Gainz, sportsgear.com. And now, back to the episode.
All right, folks. So you've heard this wise woman talking all prior to the break, and now we're going to formally introduce her. In front of us, we have Kasha Johnson.
Yes.
And she is, and again, I took this straight from her IG, Autism Mompreneur and Sexpert. So there are many sides to Kasha, which we're going to touch on all this episode. But first and foremost, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. No, thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we appreciate you, and I appreciate you for helping articulate my feelings to
We know
TJ.
you do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I feel like I'm going to get double teamed the whole episode.
No,
but,
no.
You know,
You're not.
Double team is the
I'm
wrong
playing with
word.
you.
We're going to have a breakthrough today. I'm just kidding.
Be like, put another slash in and be like, therapist, like, but, so, because there are, again, many sides to you, there's all the different facets that you are, you give to the world, basically. Can you start us off by just kind of, in a nutshell, tell us who Kasha is, excuse me.
I'm gonna go get her. No, I think if I were to describe myself, period, it's just I'm super open-minded.
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay unbiased,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a giver.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like that in all walks, relationships with family, friends, whatever. I try to figure out, what I can offer, what I can give. Just because I feel like despite many things that have been taken, I have things that have been given to me that, no value could be placed on. So, but I'm obviously an autism mom.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a consultant with Beverham Candy, selling adult toys, products, pleasure products, and then also like wellness and bath and body and grooming stuff and makeup. It's always fun too. But I'm a sex coach, board certified sex coach.
Okay.
And that's where the sexpert part comes in, right?
Got it.
And I also manage exotic entertainers. I do graphic stuff on the side, hustle, right? And I'm pushing away from, at least I'm trying to, but they keep sucking me back in. But I did political consulting for political and labor organizing, stuff like that for like 10 years. So every now and again I'll take on a cause. Like, that's why I'm here, because I took on a cause trying to legalize marijuana.
Got it.
But
I saw the flyers.
Yes,
I was like, okay.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I'm not a smoker, but it's just one of those things that I feel like is stupid that it's not, But
Agreed.
yeah, so they keep sucking me in somehow. But I'm really trying to phase away from that and focus more on my sex industry related stuff. And hopefully along the line, I can write some very interesting book or two. I had this idea of like what not to expect when you're expecting the day your kids the day your kid gets diagnosed, the thing that no one prepares you for. And I'm kind of just talking about all the funny stuff that's happened with my son that just makes you want to like either choke the shit out of him or laugh. So, but just kind of like a funny perspective where I'm like gonna be very vulgar, and I'm working on some titles. One might be Autism with a Bitch. I don't know, but that's the direction that I want to go in. And the sex side of it kind of is my way of letting my hair down. When I'm not being mom, I get to be a hoe and get paid for it.
You sound like a regular Renaissance woman. So we want to kind of start with the side of like being the mom, right? Because
the PG side.
Sure. And just plus being a mom is probably, at least in the way I feel about it now that I am a mother, is like one of the most, if not the most important role that you've taken on. So how old is your son?
He's 7. He'll be 8 this year.
Okay. And when did you realize that, or when did you find out that he was autistic?
I probably self-diagnosed first, but so it was right before his 4th birthday. So I want to say he was 3 years old. He's always developed hit all his milestones up and through that, all of his gross motor, fine motor, things like that. But I started to notice little sensitivities that he had to like certain things, his senses, his hearing, all of that. It was just like stuff would sound too loud, and I was like noticing him covering his ears. But then he just also had all these words that he just stopped using one day.
Okay.
Right? So that was something else too. I was like, why is he not saying that no more? Or whatever the case is. So I started the process of getting him evaluated. He was actually rejected the first time as having any issue. They said that he tested too close to the line, and so they wouldn't diagnose, but I restarted the process. And people always ask me like, why was I trying to label him? And I'm like, no. But one of the biggest things as a parent is knowing when there's something your kid needs that you cannot provide and getting it for them. So to me, it was like, he needs something. I don't know what it is, but he needs something, and he's got to get it, and y'all gonna pay for it on his insurance. But he did the second evaluation by a different agency. Who he's high functioning on the spectrum. So there are areas where it's really mostly communicative, because as far as all the other functions is walking, running, crawling, a lot of other stuff that regular kids do or neurotypical kids do, he was always good with. But there were the other areas where I was like, something's not getting through. So it was just a month before his 4th birthday that he got the official. A month before his 3rd birthday that he got the official diagnosis.
Okay.
How hard was the process? It's
hell, if I'm being honest. I think it's something that needs to be reworked. There's 2 parts of it that makes it difficult. The initial evaluations, he's going to see a few different specialists, and each child's going to see, they'll see a physical therapist, they'll see an occupational therapist, a speech therapist, and then a teacher. They want to evaluate them in a home setting where the kid is comfortable. But just getting those appointments lined up and working a schedule, it could be like sometimes it can take 1 to 2 months just for those initial meetings to happen. And then he has to see a psychiatrist after they give their reports, which can take another couple weeks for the reports to get done. And it's something they need to figure out how to make quicker, because there is a window for early intervention before it's no longer early intervention, and I think that it cuts a little too much into that timeline. But when I started the process with him, I really kind of stopped doing some of my other work. So it worked a little bit better for me because I had more availability. But if you were like a mom who had a 9 to 5 and this and that, it would have been probably a 6-month process the way everything works out. But it's that, and then it's the combination of people who are, went to school and all that kind of stuff for these types of professions, who almost try to devalue the opinion of the parent as if what you say has no weight in the situation. It's like, no, I didn't go to school for that, but I know my kid. So it's a little bit of having to have the ability to assert yourself about what's happening with your kid, So that's the difficult part. But I mean, as long as you do that and you make sure you speak out if something don't feel right, you'll be good throughout the process.
I think you make a really valid and interesting point, because I teach middle school science, but when I first started teaching, I was a special education teacher, and I still have students with IEPs and other disabilities in my classroom, and I do have an autistic student right now, and I can identify, and I see the frustration on both ends, because whenever there's especially when it's a child because by the time they come to me in middle school, a lot of them have had diabetes for a while, but it's that first it's when that initial child find or those first suspicions, it's such like, and I can only really speak for Baltimore, but it's such a long and kind of drawn out process where, you know, if the teachers suspect something, we have to like, you know, submit a report and our data and our evidence of why we think that there's something wrong, and then we have to do strategies and implement those for 6 to 8 weeks, and then we got to come back and say, okay, how has this stuff worked? And then if not, then we go to the IEP table, and then they go to the psychologist and the social worker and whoever else. So like, you know, sometimes like kids won't get, you know,
they'll be missing out for a very big
so like stuff won't be on paper and like on the books for real until arguably it could be like halfway through the school year or the next school year if you know didn't.
I fought the Board of Ed. I have had literally a battle with the Board of Ed in court, and I was able to get things fast tracked. But what I can say is if I didn't have the connections that I have politically, that would have been a whole nother ball game. I was able to get something accomplished in 2 months that normally would take several much more. Yeah. But again, I think if it was the average parent who didn't have ties, they would have been going through it for real. And think about it. It's like you at this table, and then it's like you said, a social worker, a psychiatrist, this therapist, teacher, that therapist, a teacher. You're going up against a board, an army of experts who are going to assert what, you know, whose opinion is already respected and all of that, and then you're having to come and be this advocate for your child. That's a very challenging position for some parents, especially in minority communities where they're not educated. It is. It's
super intimidating. That's one of my like least favorite things about some of the meetings that I've been in, I've sat in, is because parents, you know, will sit there and just kind of nod.
That's God.
And they'll just be like, I'm done. You know, and I remember like, and to be quite honest, sometimes in the room, like I'm the only person that looks like them. And I have stopped sometimes and be like, do you know what I mean? Like, do you get what I'm saying? And
to make sure that they actually process it. Because the reality is, that's what you just said, that nodding the head thing. It was the pivot. It was basically the focal point of my case with the argument that I had with them. That there was an expectation from them that I was going to walk into this meeting and go like this. Yeah. And they were not prepared for anything other than that. Yep. And so when I would ask questions, and I'd be like, could you please give me something to support that recommendation? And then they couldn't reference to anything, and I'd be like, so you reviewed 2 years worth of reports and you didn't make a note? You didn't, like, you're making a recommendation, but you're not putting any basis behind it. And I need basis behind it. And when I couldn't do that, I literally in the meeting had the therapist say to me, I'm not going to argue with you. And I said, are we arguing if I'm asking you to explain a recommendation for my child and you can't? Help me understand. But you could tell that he's used to this. Okay. Yep. Okay. That sounds. Oh, sure. Yeah. You're not gonna trial and error on mine. Yeah.
and sometimes that's a lot of it. What it is, and like, and you know, and then on the flip, on all fairness, like I think that it's me and you probably could go down this path for a long way, especially because I'm like got my teacher hat on right now. But there's the whole thing of like these people are like got caseloads out the wazoo, so they can't
distinguish your kid from another.
Yeah, they can't dedicate the amount of time that they want to the situations because they've got 5 children at this school, and like, you know, it's not like if we had one of everybody at every school in this country, then it wouldn't be a problem.
But usually one therapist is assigned to multiple school locations, like
2 to 4 schools. Yeah, so.
And and that's what it is. And I was saying to the person, like, it's no fault. I'm not trying to fault you. Yeah. But what I don't want you to do is, and the shortest way I can say it is, what I don't want you to do is be dismissive. Yeah. At the same time, if you don't have an answer, just say, you know what, let me go back and look at that, and you know, maybe we could. Don't sit there and act like it's something wrong with me asking a question. That's what it was that kind of got me.
Very true.
At any time, did you ever like blame or question yourself?
No.
Okay.
No. There is a lot of sometimes. I did a lot of research about it before he ever got a diagnosis. I understood that there was no definitive reason that they can explain autism. They really do feel, obviously, that it dates back much further than we started using the term to identify it. But I understood that autism was really a social disorder. It can impact the ability of a child to learn in other areas if they can't communicate or understand what you're communicating to them. That's when it trickles down to the education side, and they can't do math the certain way because they don't get it. But you have to find other ways give the same message to that person. So no, I didn't feel like that. I actually had a relief when he got the diagnosis, because I was like, okay, this is a deal. Now I can develop a plan.
Yeah.
If I didn't know what I'm dealing with, then that's when you feel kind of like helpless.
Gotcha.
So once I got that diagnosis, I was like, boom, let me find out what a kid that goes through this is supposed to get, so I can make sure
he gets that.
He gets it. But no, I didn't. The only time that I might have felt guilty was when I was working politics, and I knew that could sometimes be long 10 to 12 hour days on campaigns, and feeling like that separation anxiety of leaving him with other people who, you know, is he okay, and because no one understands it as much as you do, and you're like, what if he has this, are they gonna know what to do? So that might be the only thing that creates any level of guilt, which is why I decided that year I'm not going to work for anyone else, so I can dictate my schedule and I don't have to have that worry, you know.
True. So, you know, having that understanding now of your child has autism, you've gotten the supports in place, you've adjusted, you made the necessary adjustments for yourself as a mother, with your work schedule and your professional life to do that. But then and even though he's high functioning, there are still roadblocks, because even just dating period when you have children, because as always, this is a relationship podcast, so we're always going to tie that factor in. Dating with children period is
a struggle in its own.
It's a struggle in its own. So now you add this layer into it, right? What does that look like?
How does it impact everything?
How does it impact? What does it look like? How does that, have you at any point in time when it's like, okay, I'm serious with somebody, and then I want, like, you're like, okay, I'm ready for them to meet my child. What does that look and feel like?
For me, the introduction has to come a lot sooner than for most people. So that's number one. A lot of people have mixed feelings about that, obviously, how soon a kid meets the person. But it's something I'm very forward about in early conversations. When he was younger, I didn't talk about it as much because I think he was still doing most of the things that any other child would have done. So it didn't seem like that. But as he gets older and you're looking at him and thinking that he's 7 years old, why when I ask him how's he doing, he's not answering me.
Got it.
That's, because I think about it from my end, but I think about it from the person I'm dating, and for them, establishing a bond with someone's child when you're serious about them is single-handedly one of the most important things you could do in that relationship. So if there's a communication barrier that you feel like might get in the way of that, and then you're thinking, dang, if I don't make some relationship with her kids, she might not be as interested in me, or and then also I gotta think, I had to learn how to navigate it, but I've had years now in the game, and I'm still constantly learning things. This is somebody who's walking into it, maybe they don't or never had a brush with a person who might have a special need and don't know how to approach it. So in those cases, I guess what I look for is somebody who I feel like has an open mind, right, and a positive outlook, because that's all I really need you to have. As far as learning and navigating, I'll be there with you through that. I don't have an expectation, I guess, of you walking in knowing how to interact with my kid. Yeah. But what's fortunate is that my son is super active, friendly, happy kid. Yeah. He's not one of those kids that doesn't like to be touched or anything like that. He's actually more affectionate. So he will come to you. He will not be afraid to approach a person or something like that. And I think I just want the person to be open to just don't approach it with pressure. Yeah. Just let him exist and let him comfortably come to you. Yeah. And he'll interact with you if he wants to, but what I will say, a deal breaker is if I feel like you don't ask enough questions. Okay. Once I tell you that this is the case and there seems to be no level of curiosity about, so what does that look like? And what is, and then when they're about to meet them, if they're not asking me certain questions, so how should, I need to see that you at least are thinking about it, because if not, then it tells me you ain't serious about me. Yeah. So that.
I have a question about that. What if someone doesn't know, like, what questions to ask, or, like, if they've never experienced that type of situation, so they don't know that they should be asking that question, or, So what I usually do is I tell them,
I'll give them stuff about him to know. Like, this is the type of stuff he likes. This is things he likes to do. He's real fun. You know what I'm saying? Take him to a place where there's a park or a slide or a bouncy house, and he's the happiest kid in the world. He's very simple. You know, all that type of stuff. Like, my son is at the age now where he can communicate wants and needs.
Yeah.
He's not going to have a full-fledged, hey, how's your day going? Oh, yeah. Well, did you see the weather yesterday? No. But if he wants pizza, he's going to tell you, I want pizza.
Yeah.
You know? So, or if he got to use the bathroom. So he can communicate at those levels, and then he has his other playful ways of engaging. I respect the person who just says, I don't really know what this look like. So you're going to have to, you know, and I can, at least you're saying to me, but I want to learn. That's what it says. I don't know, but so you're going to have to navigate it. As opposed to saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm cool with that. You know what I'm saying? Every kid is special, da 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 da. But it's like a blanket statement that doesn't show that you're interested in figuring out
what's what.
Right. I've also had guys who say, how could that impact us?
Yeah.
Like, you know, child care situations and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, does it get in the way of this and this and that? And I'm like, you know, no, for the most part, no.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But just some type of question that's, you know what I'm saying? That lets me know you heard that this
is
something.
Yeah.
I can respect that. I was just saying, like, you know, if you don't know, like, I may ask those type of questions because I have a child, so I know. But if someone doesn't have a child or they've never been in that situation, they may not know to, like, let me inquire more, let me.
Sometimes the questions do come after the first interaction too. So I will say, like, I'll give them enough to kind of know
so a little.
Enough time. I give you an expectation.
A window that they
I just let you know these things about him. So maybe when they first engage with him, because you know, like when I meet someone's child, you know, I want to know about their likes and their interests and whatnot, so that when I do meet them, I have something to engage with them about, right? Engaging with my son could be as simple as looking on YouTube with him. You know what I'm saying? Because he's going to show you all the slime videos that he wants to look at and all that stuff, whatever.
So many slime videos.
Yeah. And he's like, he likes music, he likes songs, and he wants to dance. So, you know, it could be that. I had one person that I dated who, you know, like I said, he didn't have too many questions up front. But after he met him and he got to see him, he was like, I'm not going to lie. He's like one of the most curious, like I'm so interested in him because now I'm wondering, what the hell is he thinking? Yeah. Then out of nowhere, he had all of these questions. He was like, so when he does this, is he really like, now I'm seeing, okay, clearly this guy's taking an interest because he took his time to have that interaction. And now he's like, I want to know more about, you know, this kid or whatever the case is. And then you have your guys who would just like interact on this playful way with him because my son is playful, but when it comes to the deeper level, you don't ever hear them asking that. And what they don't realize is, if I'm dating you, I need to eventually at some point feel like this is someone who my kid could be with without me being present.
Yeah.
And I don't have to think or worry about it. If you don't take steps in that first year or so of dating or whatever, when we're together or whatever, to show me something, and I don't ever feel like I'm going to reach that level of comfort, that's quite frankly can tank us. Yeah, I mean, technically my son is my only kid. Like, I raised my brother. So he equally has been a secondary source of information about, you know, some people tell me that they watch how my brother interacts with him and that helps them figure out from a male perspective how to interact with him. So that's another side of it, but you never know.
And I think it's important to know that because there's so many parents out there who are in the same type of situation as you or something similar to it. And I think you hit the nail on the head, but ultimately it's like, I need to know that at some point I can leave my child with you and not think twice. If I can't feel that way, then what are we doing?
It's like a patience thing too is the biggest thing. Like, I look for a man who has a level of patience. If I see that you have a temper problem, that tells me right then and there, like, and you have, like, let's just say this, if you have a temper problem and you have no sort of way to handle your temper, that's a different level because I have the ability to see my son do some crazy stuff. Like, I could walk in the kitchen and he could be having a chocolate bath on his stomach. And I'm a crack up. But somebody, like, I had one guy saying, you know, like, he need his ass beat.
Yeah.
And immediately that tells me that that's your first place to go. And I said, why do you think he needs his ass beat? He was like, he in here playing with chocolate. I said, but did you notice everything else that was in here? He had 2 slices of bread on the counter. He had peanut butter. He had chocolate. He was trying to make a sandwich. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do I sit here and get mad about that? Or do I embrace the fact that he's doing something independent, trying to make a sandwich for himself and trying to teach himself a necessary skill that we need in life, how to feed ourselves, right?
Exactly.
I said, so no, I'll teach him, baby, we don't put the chocolate all over here. What happened was he spread the chocolate on the bread with his hand. And then he realized he had chocolate on his hand and wiped it on his chest and all that stuff. And I was like, so no, I just started to teach him how to use a damn butter knife. It's not something that I'm going to chastise him for. I'm like, baby, you got all this chocolate over you. You try to be a chocolate man. No, honey, you got to get this. So you take this and you turn it into a teaching moment. But I could tell he had kids.
But that could also be a teaching moment for
him.
For that guy, you know.
But I could tell that was how he approached his kids.
No.
Because your first instinct was
already,
whip his ass. Like, you know what I'm saying?
But, like, if someone didn't have kids, I can see them saying, like, if I would have done that as a child, my mother would have beat me. You know, so that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we may say things based off of our experience.
How we grew up.
And sometimes you have to meet other people to be like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? This is a whole different situation. You know what I mean? I don't have to beat my child, or I don't have to do these things.
There's other ways to approach it.
Yeah, you know?
And I think what I can say is I think that some ways help some of my relationships too. Like, might seem crazy, but the fact that now the same one who challenges me to have other perspectives is the same person who's now challenging the person I'm with to have other perspectives. And sometimes that transfers over to us. So the fact that, like, it's so funny because it's like this one little kid is bringing us closer in its own way too. Because it's a learning experience for them, but even for me, dating them and trying to put them onto this. But it challenges us both to think the first instinct shouldn't be hostile. So when we have an argument, we might be able to stop and be like, I make the joke, dislike the chocolate. I'll go like this, like the chocolate situation. Do we have to approach it immediately thinking, well, should we be looking at this from another perspective? So sometimes we make that like how you say pineapples, bitch. It would be like the safe choice.
That's the safe word.
I'll be like, boo, this is peanut butter on the chest, like, or whatever, and we need to probably step away, come back. You know what I'm saying? So
perception is reality. You gotta look at it through your own experience, and I think it's important that you it helps. Like what TJ was saying, it helps people get an understanding, and then also, and like maybe they can apply it to their own lives.
Right.
Before having a child, if I was messing with someone who had a child and I've seen that, I may have not said it,
but you'd have thought it.
But I may have thought it, or I may have been like, yo, she does not know how to raise her child.
You see a child
and it may be a story that I tell my family, and you know what I mean, and. I think once you have children and once you experience things, you look at things
a whole nother
way different.
But you want to know what's so funny? Because I've dated guys that don't have children and whatever. So like I've gotten nicknamed Mother Nature, all kind of stupid stuff like that, because they be like, one guy said to me, like, I'm in awe at your ability to remain calm. It was almost scary. He was like, to see you, and immediately I go, sweetheart, you can't do that. We have to use a butter knife, so I'm going to show you how to. And then he was like, it was just like this other person cut on, and he was like, you know, saying like he heard the tone, but he was saying to me that one thing he also noticed was that, like, as I was talking, my son was like tuned into me, and he was like, I read something about autism where they said they don't make eye contact, but he was like this while you were talking. I was like, because I know that when he hears me speak in that tone, he knows he's in trouble for something, but he knows I'm not
angry.
Yeah, like I'm kind of like this, and he was like, I think later we had an argument, and I used that tone, and I was like, listen, honey, I'm not saying that what you're thinking that I'm saying is not what. He was like, you mothering me right now?
I'm not your
I was like, no, bro, that's not my mother tone. That's you making me activate my patience tone. Like, but he felt like he heard this same person come out
That's true, because you don't know patience until you have a kid.
So you gotta have it for real,
and like I said, I think TJ makes a good point, because I know there were times where I'd be in the store and you see a 2-year-old.
Facts.
While he be like, this
load is
right?
bad.
And now,
and then you have your
look,
child.
I do it, and I got a kid
And
who's
your
like,
child does it, and you be like,
I feel
go
you.
ahead, just cry.
and to the point where it's easier, just like let the little nigga do
Exactly.
it. Like pick and choose your battles, bro.
Like,
you want to cry on the floor? Go ahead.
When you see a parent say something like, all right, you gonna do that, I'm gonna be over here. If you wanna, and you be like, how you just gonna leave the kid on the then when it happened, you be like, and don't get me wrong, I'm still black. Like I'm still raised a certain way. So sometimes my son do something, I'd be like, do not play with me.
Yeah.
Do not, and he'd be looking at, and just like every other kid respond when when you cut, I can look at him like this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And he will get it together. But so it's like, but he understands that's my way of communicating that.
I feel like parenting teaches you how to think differently. You know, like you see how other people parent, and you may judge them, but you don't have a child. But now when you have a child, like for me, I don't want no one telling me how to raise my child. Mm-hmm. So for me, I can now, if I see a child doing whatever, I'm not as judgmental as I used to be. Like they're raising their child the way that they're raising their child. So I have a different type of like respect. And that happens. You have children, and then you kind of see things, and you rear them a way that you do it with your partner, or you may be solo, but you kind of start looking at things differently. And like you said, patience it changes. It's also funny that being a parent could also make people more judgmental too. Yeah. Right? Because there's a flip side to it. Like, especially when you a black parent. Let's keep it real. Yeah. Right? We have our own way that our children are raised, and we look at some stuff that you might see a white mom on a train with her kid, and the kid is doing all that extra stuff, and you like, little Tom need his ass whipped. Like that's immediately what you start thinking. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? We do it, and we parents. Yeah. But it's funny because when he was younger, the little motherfucker fast. I'm just keep it straight. Mm-hmm. Little nigga is Speedy Gonzalez, meet, and my fast was not keeping up. And so my greatest fear was him taking off into a street and whatever, and not being able to catch him. I sure did have the little lion bear book bag leash on his ass. And somebody actually, like, people, people think it, and I wrote a blog post called "Fuck You and Your Criticism," and it's just like, I don't give a shit because you don't know what my day looks like, but. Somebody actually was bold enough to be like, to say something about it, like the fact that he was wearing it. And I was like, should I give more? I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I respect everyone's right to have an opinion, but do you think I should give more of a shit about you having an opinion, or feel better the fact that I know that when I'm going to make it home with my kid without him ending up roadkill in the middle of the street? Mm-hmm. And he was like, yeah, but it's just a matter of telling them that they need to make sure that their asses don't run out there. And I was like, well, I said, you know what, Kasha, this could be a certain type of a moment where I could come at him, or this can be an educating moment. So I took to take the educating route, and I was like, I have a son with a special need. He has autism spectrum disorder. I said, sometimes children with autism have a hard time processing danger. So how most of us can see walking into a street and get hit by a car could be something that we don't want to do. A child with autism might not get it until their ass is hit by the car. Yep. I was like, sometimes, it's the same thing with don't touch the stove. Sometimes your ass got to get burned for you to know. That's why, and even our kids, neurotypical kids, you tell them over and over, don't touch it. So they touch it that one time, and they ask, next time you see them, they will be going around it like... It happened the other day. So I heated up some food for my daughter, and I'm like, it's hot, and she still wanted it. Go ahead, touch it. Go ahead. Have it. Yeah. Sure. Mm-hmm. This is a teaching moment. Hot. Yeah. Now they know. Now you never see the motherfucker go more than anything, But after we had the conversation, I explained it to him, and he was like, you know what, sister, I apologize. And he was like, I didn't think about that. And I was like, I'm hoping that the next time you see anything that you're quick to jump to a conclusion about, you second guess it. Yeah, he was an older black guy. You know what I'm saying? He was just, my mama would have whooped my ass. Exactly. I feel like we are our own worst enemy a lot of times. Like a lot of times we still have like the slave mentality, and that's just a generational thing, like. And we had a lot of things about our teachings that were really good. Yeah. That they could learn a little thing or two from us about. Yeah. Because I think some of our children grow up to be some of the most resilient people, meaning you really got to break us to break us. Mm-hmm. There's not a lot of stuff that we can't handle, you know what I'm saying?
we're used to fighting the fight sort of situation, where a lot of other and people always say this with my brother, they white people allow their children to be more liberated in their speech and saying what they feel, whatever. And my thing is, in my household, it's not that you can't, it's that you're going to do it with respect. And that's the element that I think sometimes is missing on that end. I'm like, in my head, if I'd said that shit, I got smacked somewhere down the hallway. Now I might not smack you down the hallway, but and I encourage, like, my brother especially, because he's of age where he was teenagers, and I want you to speak about how you feel. Yes. But you will always remember who you talking to. And you will never speak to me disrespectfully. So you better either figure out how to articulate that shit or don't say nothing at all. But come correct. So, and that's where I think the maturity pivot happens, where it's not like speak when you're spoken to. Because I'm really teaching you that it's not okay to feel. I don't believe in that.
And I tell it to my students all the time, because my average age of my kids are 12 to 14, so it's just kind of like
they in that phase where their mouth is starting to get loose.
They push it. So it's a lot of patience practice.
You got to that face that you just made.
Exactly.
You was there for 2 seconds, like you just be like,
because teachers are human too. Sometimes you gotta be like, who the fuck are you talking to?
You want to laugh?
But yes, I do.
Teachers are my biggest customers of panty vibrators.
Oh my god!
I swear to you, it started with one group. I had a bachelorette party for a group of teachers. And that's how it happened. I swear to God. I was like, listen, I just pressed. So one of them was like, she pressed the button when them niggas get on her nerves.
Oh my God.
So then she told all the teachers, and then I don't know, like I said, now I have this teachers group network. And we laugh and joke about kid shit, but
I can't even say I'm all that surprised though, because, sometimes there's days where I'm like, I'm in charge of people's children all day. And other times I'm like, I look at some of the other people I know that are teachers. I'm like, who let you in front of these children?
Right.
We meet, like...
But there's an unspoken understanding.
Yeah, and I'll say this, like, there's any profession is good, there's bad, but I feel like I've definitely encountered more good than bad in my time as an educator. But all I was saying is, like, that age range where it's like, I tell them all the time, I'm like, y'all, when they, like, report cards are coming out tomorrow, right, or this week coming up. And it's the same shit every quarter. Why'd you give me this? I was like, I didn't give you shit. I didn't give you. I was like, you earned that grade. And I'm like, if you're gonna come asking, like, you need to come to me.
How can I improve it? What can I do to change it?
What was I doing wrong? How do I need to fix it or whatever? And I'm like, you need to know, like, the wheres and the whens. I'm like, you can't just roll up on me when I'm about to go to the bathroom, or like I'm in the, at the end.
I'm sure you got the parents that do the same thing.
Some parents, they want to stop.
Like, they don't know their kid.
Exactly.
Like, that little motherfucker heard that scene.
Yeah, exactly. And like, and to me too, it's always as wild, because my school is just real small, so I loop with my kids. So like, my 8th graders I had since 6th graders. So I'm like, Ms. Johnson, we've been doing this for 3 years now. Like, we know. He's just like, math ain't his thing.
Little Johnny just don't get
exactly.
I'm confused.
It's okay. Like, he don't do his fucking homework. He never does his homework. We know this. So anyway, but I think that this is a great place for us to kind of switch gears a little bit, because you brought up how the panty vibrators. Mm-hmm. So just in case you were have a younger ears listening or anything like that, this is your warning that it might get a little bit more adult.
I'll keep it clean.
Okay, just don't.
Nah, you could be as.
Say whatever you gotta say.
I can articulate it.
Yeah,
I teach my brother. I can articulate it in a way that it don't sound too raunchy.
I don't want you to feel like you gotta censor yourself.
No, not at all.
We're adults.
I just come from more of an educational
perspective. She's just giving a fair warning.
Yeah, we're just letting you know we switching gears. That's all. So, you are a representative for Bedroom Candy, and you also host. So you host parties, and then you are a board certified sexpert who. Then also you do like classes and seminars as well for men and women, or
both.
Okay, so
and she got a gang of strippers.
She said exotic dancers.
All right, she got a gang.
Let's use the appropriate
terminology.
Exotic entertainers.
There you go.
Exactly. That's why we don't say prostitute. We say sex worker.
All right. All right. Cool. I'm just saying she got a gang of them. Gang.
Gang. See what this nigga's giddy about, right?
Yeah. So, he's like, I just want you to know what they heard. I know what you said, but I know what they heard.
So yeah. So basically, let's start with the toys and all of the different experiences that you can have with the products that you sell. So one thing that TJ, I think this was your question.
You see how I have this?
He wanted you to ask the question without saying it was his.
So
first off, wait, no. Before we go into the question, a lot of these questions I came up with. She didn't put me out there. She didn't say, well, TJ wanted to know about this.
But he put you out there for that question, right?
But I'm the shady person.
That was them.
That's what she did.
I like them.
That's
Just a little, it did get shady. It did. Yeah.
See, I'll accept that. Accountability.
But that was
right?
that was her secret weapon. You've been throwing shade all episode. She was like, wait till we get to this conversation. And
I'm cool with it, though. I'm so comfortable, so we can, I'm just saying it, like, you might as well just say I did all the questions, and then I'm cool with that. Just give me my props throughout the whole thing. Don't try to, like, zing me and then be like...
Oh, I tipped my hat. Whatever.
Whatever.
So
what's my question?
Your question was... because it's just a very you question. So
very you question.
What are your top sellers? What are your best sellers for men and your best sellers for women?
So there's best sellers for men, women, and then couples. Because it does.
Yeah.
So for women, I will say my bestseller is there's two. So there's one called the Make Me Over, which is it's designed to look like a makeup powder brush compact, the vibrator actually, and it's supposed to be one of the discreet designs where it doesn't look like a sex toy. Mm-hmm. If someone would look at it on a dresser and think it's like your mirror for your makeup or something. Yeah. But it's because and a lot of people who are in relationships like this one because it's a vibrator that you can use for like clitoral stimulation, external G-spot stimulation, giving full body massages under his balls, in his like. So it's something that can use on both. Then G-spot vibrators are the next most popular because most women have never really experienced real G-spot stimulation, and a lot of women are curious about squirting, so they want to explore that because it's one of the quickest ways to get you to that point. Yeah, so that's on the women's side. And then women, they respond well to the pheromone products. So like anything that has the attractants, the smells, that they can use as a body product. So it's like a two-purpose. I wash my ass with it, but it also makes them want to lick me. Like, so that I'll say is favorite for them. The guys' side, a lot of my guys order first of all, the grooming products I think is probably what I sell the most to men. The beard oil, stuff like that. But on the sex tip, they're more into like the bondage stuff. Like they want to get the cuff whip stuff to put on, the sex position pillows and straps and stuff that could positioning straps. They're really comfortable in that area. I do have a lot of, believe it or not, the masturbation sleeve that's for men, more women buy it. Yeah, because I talk about how you thick with it. But anyway, so got it. But the guys lean to that, and then on a softer end, like they like the flavored stuff, massage candle stuff that they can lick and it's edible. That's something that they hear like, oh, if I be like, yo, this gonna make her coochie taste like buttercream, then they like, yeah, we need that, right? Like, so they respond well to that, and then I have a very secretive group of men who buy the stamina spray to help them last long. They're the ones that they don't want you to know that they bought it, but they bought it. Got it. Yeah, it goes down in the order room. Now, couples, the rings are most popular, and let me see. A lot of guys, the remote control type stuff. Yeah. The idea of him being able to control you, like, so a lot of couples like the fun stuff that they can make interesting, date night type stuff, and anything that they can use in those ways. So I would say that kind of,
Shout out to your products very well. So
she didn't use no paper, no sheet, straight off the top.
Yes.
No, I know what makes me money.
That is definitely a motivator.
I know it shows up in my sales report the most. Yeah,
absolutely.
How do you make men comfortable with sex toys?
I make them comfortable with me. Then I make them comfortable with toys.
So you're the product.
I am. I'm the brand.
Okay.
This product is good. I don't have to sell a product, but it's how I present it that I think makes a difference. Because, one, I understand that certain objects you don't want to introduce initially because a man is initially gonna wait a minute, what you about to do? You put nothing in me or whatever, all that kind of stuff. So I know which products visually are most acceptable by a man. Then if I don't ever talk to a person from a perspective of what the product can do.
Yeah.
I speak about your need. So my question is, what is your goal?
Yeah.
And then I can tell you what you need. So I feel like in any industry, you have to sell from a perspective of solving a problem. And once you do that, that's that. So even when I'm talking about the stamina spray, believe it or not, most guys don't want to openly say that they need that. But I make it okay by saying, listen, you don't have to be an older guy to go through it. Sometimes if you work out a lot, if you work a lot, you stressed out a lot, it can impact your ability to perform at your highest point, at your best. It's not to say that you can't, but it can. At the end of the day, when you're tired, you do a lot. Some people work 2 jobs, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. And sometimes if you're an athlete and you overexert working out and playing sports, you use most of your stamina and your energy there. The last place that your body's sending energy to is your ball sack. You know what I'm saying? Or so I'm saying to them, like, it's a lot of young guys who go through that. And they don't want to say it because they're younger and there's this expectation, I'm in my 30s, I should still be doing this like this. Right. No, it's okay that if you don't. I'd rather you let me know that that's a situation so we could get something to deal with it than you just bring sexual frustration by not delivering over and over. So I'm like, listen. And then they like the fact that it's like a vegan, organic thing. They don't have to take a pill. Yeah. It's something they spray on them and it's external. So I say, listen, she don't even got to know, just 3 times before you go in the room. Give her a second, you know what I'm saying? And then they like the fact that if she gives oral with him using it, it kind of offers a numbing effect to the back of her throat. Oh. They love the idea of a numbing effect in the back of a chick's throat, right? Yes. So, once I'm saying, so you got to make them, just like with any client that I have as male, you have to make them feel like okay with the fact that what's wrong with them is not something
it's not
bad.
taboo.
It's not wrong. It's okay.
And
it's
they're not
okay.
Alone.
Once they feel comfortable knowing, then they'll be like, all right, so let me tell you what the situation is. And then I can tell them what they need. Yeah.
So I have 2 questions. First one is, you have a wealth of knowledge, right? And sometimes, though, having a wealth of knowledge can be intimidating to a partner. Took the words out of my mouth. So what do you do? Like, what do you do when it's like, and like you're dating a guy and you know that he's been under a lot of stress at work and things have started to slow down, and like,
how do I tell him?
How do you bring that conversation up, or how does it?
I got a really simple way that women could bring that one.
I'm saying for you though,
but for me and any woman that has that problem, I like sucking dick. It's that simple. So I say to him, babe, I want to suck your dick. But the thing is, I know if I suck your dick, then I'm gonna start taking some of your ability. But before I don't want to suck your dick because I know it's gonna make you get off quicker. But I want to see if you're willing to introduce something that will get me back to sucking your dick the way I want to. Because I don't want to hold back. But I'm not bringing it to a perspective of saying what I'm not getting. I'm thinking to him, he's processing, I don't want my bitch to stop sucking my dick. We got whatever we got to do to move towards. But I might say something like that. You got to always talk to a person about not just about me, because that's all they'll hear. In any conversation, you need to speak about, okay, yeah, it's affecting me, but let me tell you how this is about to affect us. Because if I feel like I can't do too much foreplay because it's going to make you come quicker when we actually start penetrating, then that's going to discourage me from going as hard as I want to do, and I don't ever want to suppress that. So, but I'm like, listen, we can use this to help you have the ability to handle that a little bit longer. We could really have fun, and it's, then coming from that approach, they're like more open to trying it, even if they don't, they like, in their head it's like, she not gonna stop sucking my dick, so we gonna do this. So it's, and that's what there's other conversations or ways you could bring it, but you just want to come from that standpoint.
Damn, you can sound salt to a slug. So I mean, it's all about angles. It's like how you presented it. And that was that's a great way to position it. And so TJ and I were listening to, I think it was like one of your Instagram stories early. Was it earlier today or from yesterday?
Oh, from yesterday.
I think so. I think you're talking about the automatic text story.
The wife.
Yes. So that was interesting. So just to give y'all a little background, Kasha had it made me think. You know what it made me think of? The Jake from State Farm commercial. Yeah. It's just like, she sounds hideous.
Like, yeah.
He's like, it's Jake from State Farm. You're like, no, it's me, Kasha.
It's just
from
me,
Beverly
Kasha.
Candy. Like,
I'm just that.
So, just a little background. So, Kasha was at a cigar bar, I think.
I had a cigar.
So she talked to these men there, and a gentleman who was, I guess, present for your speech. was sent the little like automatic, for more information, and then your business phone sent the automatic text response back, and his wife wasn't too pleased. She called, he was like, can you tell her who you are? You did. He hung up, and then because he sent another text message, now he wants your business information again. She was like, why is this bitch still texting my man? You're like, ma'am, this is not this, and you're explaining who you are, and somehow she's like, well shit, you know what, he's not doing this right, he's not doing that right, so what can he... So I thought that was hysterical, because I'm like, that conversation, I was expecting it to be like this whole negative thing, and when you're like,
plot twist.
Exactly. Definitely. So I guess what leads into my question though is like, is that a common occurrence? And then also, how do you, as far as your own personal dating life, like, is there ever a fear of like, have you ever dealt with people being jealous, or again, that saying, that wealth of knowledge, and then being around people who, and like talking sex with people and intimacy with people all the time, like how does that not translate into them wanting to have sex with you, or trying to get with you all the time?
Oh yeah, that happens a lot. So number one, it is a very, when a person asks you what you do, you could be like, I'm a teacher. Yeah. You could be like this. I got like 50 things under my hat, right? And then they all tie into, most of them all tie into the sex industry. So, but I say, if I was to come out and be like, I work in the sex industry, what does that sound like? I'm a pro, right? Like I ain't selling that. So, it's definitely a hard thing, because I have to date a very secure man. If he has too many insecurities, that's going to be a problem. Because immediately, the first word, and I hate the word, I hate hearing it, is intimidating. But they say, oh, that's intimidating. As soon as they say it, it's like in my head, something goes off, and I'm like, that's what we're doing. Okay. Because they feel like it puts a lot of pressure on them to perform at a certain level with me, because it's like, yo, she got all this sex now, she doing all this other stuff, and she got these things and these they feel like they have to compete with that, and they have to show and prove. So my biggest challenge is creating a sense of letting them understand that I do have all of that, I do know this, I do know that, but when you engage with a person, it's about learning you and you learning me. So I could have all the experiences in the world, my chemistry and my energy with you is always going to be ours. So I have to kind of focus on that with them, and saying, I could teach a person how to do this and teach a person how to do that. But it's more so like, I tell them, like, just work to establish this chemistry and this energy with me, where I feel like we understand each other, and our sex life is going to be bomb no matter what. And then also, the good thing is, if they are a secure man, they're less comfortable saying things to me that they would probably not want to say to another chick that they're dating, like fear of her taking it wrong. They know I'm used to hearing that type of stuff. Some of them have been present while they heard me on the phone with clients or customers or whatever, and hearing that, and it kind of makes it can also be a good thing, because it could create a layer of comfortability where they can say, so baby, like, what about this and that. Got it. And respect that I might actually be able to answer the question, so it is a double-edged sword. Then I'm finding that they're less concerned about me selling the toys, as opposed to the fact that I coach a lot of men. Okay. And I coach couples and I have women, but my highest base is men. So they know I'm talking sex with men all the time. Yeah. That's the harder one. Yeah. So we're going to touch on you do a lot of things. So we're going to touch on the last thing that we said we talk about, which is BBW Central. So just tell our listeners what that is and what it's about, just so that way they can get a better understanding about yet another hat that Kasha wears. It's funny, because BBW Central was a hobby. Really? It wasn't something I ever planned on monetizing in any way, shape, or form. I started, it was initially something that I did. I wasn't working a full-time job. I was bored. And, I saw all these shout-out pages and stuff on Instagram, and I was like, I want to create one. But I noticed it was always like pretty thick chicks, or slim this and this and that, or BBW this. It was like all of these. So at the time, I was plus BBW. I was like, I want to create it, but I actually have the acronym. It represents building beautiful women, as opposed to big beautiful women, because I don't want to separate. It's like we all beautiful. So when I thought taking it to a different level is, I didn't expect the following to come the way it did, because I basically had a network of other Instagram people who was doing social stuff that I would always communicate. We would share each other, and our pages would grow as a result of all of us kind of coming together and doing that. Like, our followers would just be all over all of our pages. But I had one person, a girl, who, she was a plus girl. We had this contest, a promo model contest, and she submitted a full-size picture. Now, she didn't have like a typical hourglass shape, whatever. She was a thick girl. But she didn't take, like, if you look at her page, she really didn't have no full body. She was one of the girls who, like, neck up pictures all day, every day. So she won the contest. Let's just say that. All the guys voted for her picture. And that was, like, she didn't expect that. So she messaged me, and she was like, you know, it was real vulnerable. She was like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I've never put myself out there like that. Yeah. So it was something stupid because it was like a little promo model contest, and to me it was no big deal. Yeah. She won some stuff because I have like businesses, like boutiques and stuff on Instagram that would sponsor the contest. The winner gets this. So she won like dresses, shoes, and all this kind of other stuff. But that wasn't even what mattered to her. It was like she felt like she found a place that socially she was accepted. So I was like, like, we doing something here. And that's what I first started thinking about, what could more happen with it. Then I started having all these strippers and porn stars and webcam girls and all this kind of stuff hitting me up, asking me, would you promote me on your page? Because now I got all these guys looking on the page. Yeah. And then, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of them. So they were like, I would promote them. They would pay me to promote them. And I was like, I could get paid for posting these pictures. Hold up. It's a free platform. Takes me 2 seconds to post. I just made $250 off of her. Like, then that's when I was like, we gonna monetize BBW Central. And I created backup pages because I've lost pages with like 200,000 followers on it and all that stuff. So now I'm like, and they all naturally grow themselves now. So now it's just
another stream of income.
It's just another, so
that's dope.
That's why when we did the podcast, we ended up moving the name to that because we had an opportunity, and basically they were saying like there's already a network following this name, so if you put the podcast with the name, then essentially it'd be easier to move those people over. Yeah.
Damn, girl, when do you sleep?
I actually sleep a lot. I really do. I work from home, so when I put my kid on the bus,
got it.
I'll be like, bye, baby. The bus lady always joke on me on Friday. She'd be like, you look sad. Because that's the weekend. And I'm like, you know, most people was happy for the weekend. I'm like, this nigga going to be home tomorrow and Sunday. Monday through Friday, I'm like, have a good day.
Yep.
And I go to bed.
But his teachers were like, yep, peace out. Bye. Well, Kasha, I want to say thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
For being on. We really appreciate just the wealth of knowledge that you have from every aspect of it.
Thank you.
Because as always, we know that like relationships manifest itself in different ways, and people's experiences from parenthood to occupations have very different
It do have a big impact
on relationships. So with that being said, let everybody know where they can find you and all the different places that they can reach out to you if they want coaching.
And we'll also put it on our show notes.
Okay.
So, but just go ahead and shout them out.
On social media, my Instagram account is AU_natural38. In the bio on that page, you find the links to all of my different things. Perfect. So you don't have to search for 5 different Instagram names. It's all there. My website is www.vanessaspleasures.fun, and that's with 2 N's and 2 S's. And Valentine's Day is coming, so go on over there because I got some stuff on sale that ain't going to be. As soon as the 14th come, I'm taking it straight down. I'm kidding. But if it's any time to get that kind of stuff, it's now.
We are in February.
Yeah. It's the month of love and all that good stuff. But other than that, actually, through one of my platforms, you literally can find on my platform.
Perfect. That's always smart because that would one-stop shop. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
for being here and giving us your kind words and mediating.
Yes.
And being Dani's
partner in crime.
You know, perfect.
I feel like it's a handicap match. 2 versus 1.
Anyway. You feel like,
I'm messing with you.
All right. So, as always, this has been another episode of Lovers Quarrel. You know that you can find us on Instagram at Lovers Quarrel Show, on Twitter at Lovers Quarrel 7, or if you have any questions, concerns, headaches, heartaches, all that, you can email us at loversquarrelshow@gmail.com. And with that being said, I am your girl Dani,
and I'm your guy TJ,
and you know that we fuss
and we fight, but we love.
Bye.
Later, y'all. Say bye-bye.
Bye-bye.